How y'all good people doing? I appreciate you tapping in. Do me a big favor. As you tap in, whether it be coming into the live stream or the video version, I need you to hit that thumbs up button for me. Just go ahead and smash it right now. Smash it 100 times for me, guys, as soon as you come in. This will allow YouTube to get this content out to more folks. See, the more people that like the video, the more YouTube will spread the content out to more people so that we can help more people get to their financial freedom. And that's what we're trying to do here on this YouTube channel, is get people to financial freedom. So please smash that like button for me. Smash the like button for me. The next thing I want you to consider is getting up to 12 free stocks from Weeble. See, Weeble is going to give you up to 12 free stocks when you open a Weeble brokerage account. Put any amount of money in that brokerage account. They're going to give you up to 12 free stocks for just trying out their brokerage app. There's a link down in the description box of this video. Click on that Weeble link. Open up that new Weeble account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. I'm going to also send you a Weeble tutorial video to walk you through how to use the Weeble app to make your first trade. This is going to give you the basic instructions on how to use that app to start buying your favorite ETFs, your favorite individual stocks. All you got to do is DM me on Instagram at RichardFain28. Let me know you have opened your new Weeble account, you've funded the Weeble account, and you're ready to start building wealth. And I'm going to send you that free tutorial video. The Fed has just gave all Americans final warning. Last week, the Federal Reserve had their FOMC meeting where they decided not to increase short-term interest rates, but they also gave a stern warning to the American people. And that warning was this: you better stop spending. And if you don't stop spending, we're going to keep interest rates, short-term interest rates, high for longer. We're not going to reduce them anytime soon. That's the message that they're sending to the American people, that even though your personal savings have dwindled from $2.1 trillion just less than 2 years ago down to $190 billion today, even though credit card debt has exceeded $1 trillion, you are still spending like there's no tomorrow. And we want you to stop it. And if you don't stop it, we're going to keep these interest rates elevated for longer. That's the message that the Fed chair gave the American people last week. The question is, will the American people listen? So far, they haven't been listening. Why? Because we still have a red-hot economy. See, our economy in 2023, year to date, has grown by more than 2%, even with interest rates. The Fed funds short-term interest rate at 5.5%, prime rate at 8.5%. But we're still spending money. And really what we're spending, as I mentioned earlier, we're spending our personal savings. I'm telling you guys, we went from $2.1 trillion in personal savings, one of the highest levels our personal savings has been in a long time. just less than 2 years ago, to down to 190 billion. That means we are spending our butts off to buy things to make other people wealthy, to buy things to make the 1% wealthy. Look how the 1% has manipulated us. Just regular old Americans. They have manipulated us to spend all of our personal savings to make them wealthy. And all that is doing is increasing the wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots. I've explained this to you, but you know something? The American people ain't getting it yet. They haven't felt enough financial pain yet, see? That's the thing. We haven't felt enough financial pain yet, but guess what? The Federal Reserve, if you were reading between the lines, if you were listening to what the Fed chair said, we're gonna keep interest rates higher for longer. That's code words, guys. That's code words for the American people ain't felt any pain yet. So since they haven't felt pain yet, we're gonna continue to keep these interest rates high. And that's gonna make it harder for them to buy a new home. And it's gonna make it harder for them to buy a new home because those interest rates are gonna be 7.5% for longer. And as long as those interest rates are 7.5%, we know most Americans won't be able to afford the monthly payment to buy a new home. That's the punishment. That's the pain that the Federal Reserve wants Americans to feel. Now, they're not gonna come out and tell you that, but if you know the code words, if you know the underlying message, they're telling you we're not happy with you guys continuing to spend like crazy and keep inflation higher longer than it needs to be. And that's the problem. See, the Fed wants inflation down to 2%, but they can't get it down because Americans won't stop spending, buying crap to make other Americans wealthy. When I say other Americans, I'm just talking about 1%. 1%, right? We're only making 1% of Americans wealthy. Why 99% of us gonna feel some pain. We're gonna feel that pain because every time we go to buy something and we gotta go borrow money to buy it, we're gonna get hit in the throat with high interest rates. We're gonna hit us in the throat with high 30-year fixed rate mortgage rates. You got all these people out here want to buy a home, can't buy one. Why? Interest rates are 7.5%. Can't afford the monthly payment. Can't do it. Not at 7.5%. So what's their option? They got to go out and rent. And guess what? Landlords are starting to figure out, interest rates are high, 7.5%. They got nowhere else to go. They can't buy a house because they've spent all their savings making somebody else wealthy. Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna jack up the rents. Why? You got no other choice. You can't afford to go buy a house because interest rates are 7.5%. Can't afford the monthly payment. So guess what? Landlords are getting smart and saying they got nowhere else to go. Let's jack up our rents. Either they pay what we're asking them to pay or they don't have a place to stay. That's why rents are so high. That's why housing costs is so high. That's why shelter cost is so high. And that's why inflation won't come down to 2% because shelter costs is a third of inflation, right? But it's all tied together though, right? And the Fed know that. That's why the Fed is telling you, listen guys, we're gonna keep interest rates higher for longer. That's just a code word for we're gonna make you feel this pain. You ain't felt the pain yet, but it's coming. That pain coming. So what the Fed is trying to get us to understand is, unless we stop buying things that we don't need and pull back on our spending, inflation won't come down. One of the reasons why people feel so comfortable depleting their savings, running up their credit card debt, is because we've had a red hot labor market, right? For the last year, for every one person that wanted to work, there has been 2 job openings, right? So people, they didn't worry about losing a job. They didn't worry about not being able to find work. Why? Because there was a red hot labor market. There were more jobs than there were people to fill those jobs. And when that happens, employers have to do something to attract talent. And how do they attract that talent? They increase wages, right? They make it more attractive for a candidate to choose them to work for them. They increase wages. They give them all these benefits. They start them out with a higher salary. But what that does is it gives Americans a artificial sense of we got more money than we really have. Now, I'm gonna tell you what's happening though. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. What's happening is the labor market is starting to cool off though. There ain't no 2 jobs for every one applicant anymore. It's about a 1-to-1 right now. And a lot of Americans don't know that. They ain't paying attention. They too busy spending money, splurging, taking vacations, and just living a good life. They ain't paying attention. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen when these interest rates that the Fed says is gonna stay higher for longer. What's gonna happen is these companies who can't borrow money anymore because it's too expensive, they're gonna start laying people off. And then what you're gonna have is you're gonna have 2 applicants for every job. And that's when it's gonna get really serious in this country once the unemployment rate starts going up. And it's gonna happen, guys, because the Fed is gonna force it to happen. Now, of course, the Fed doesn't wanna push us into a recession. That's not their goal. But if they gotta push us into a recession in order to get inflation down and to stop you guys from spending money to make other people wealthy, they will. They've done it before, guys. They pushed us into a recession before. They will push us right over the edge. If you make them, they're gonna push us right over the edge. And they will throw us into a recession to get inflation down. They will temporarily destroy the economy in order to stop you guys from spending money to make other people wealthy. Because as long as you continue to do that, run up your credit card debt, which we are doing that. We got a $1 trillion credit card debt in this country. That's the most credit card debt in the world by a country, us, United States. Our savings, personal savings rate, which is a shame. Less than 2 years ago, we had over $2 trillion in savings. Fast forward to today, that's down to 190 billion. Almost a what? $100 billion run rate a month, something like that. Y'all go do the fact check on that. Go out on Google and do a little research. You'll find out. I ain't lying. Why? Because we got a false sense of we're doing great. But that rug is gonna get pulled out from under us. Because that labor market that we've been blessed with over these last, 12, 18 months, it's coming to an end, guys. It's coming to an end. Federal Reserve is gonna make sure you feel pain. They're gonna make sure the American people feel pain. And that pain is coming. Matter of fact, that pain ain't coming, that pain is here. Because they've already told you, if you were listening last week, when I asked you guys to go check out the Fed chair's remarks at 2:30 on September 20th. Last week, I told you, go check out his remarks and listen to what he's saying. Now, he ain't gonna come out and say, American people, y'all ain't doing what we tell you to do. He ain't gonna say that, but he gonna say code words, code phrases. We're gonna keep interest rates higher for longer. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? Why are they keeping interest rates higher for longer? Have you ever thought about that? Because the American people ain't listening. When they asked you to stop spending 6 months ago, you didn't listen. You kept spending. And that's evident that you kept spending because when you look at the savings rate, it's been deplenished. Personal savings has been deplenished. When you think about credit card debt, increased over 1 trillion. So that tells the Fed right there, that tells anybody that's really looking at this, that the American people ain't listening. Because if we would have been listening, our personal savings rate would be higher. It would be, it'd be $1 trillion instead of 190 billion if we were listening, right? If we were batting down the hatches and only buying things that we need and not things to make other folks well. If we were listening, we would have a higher personal savings rate. If we were listening, our credit card debt in this country would not be over $1 trillion. But we're not listening. We're not listening. We have not heard the Fed, but I guarantee you we will be hearing the Fed soon. We'll perk up, because I'm telling you, that red hot labor market that we enjoyed, that's going away, guys. Every single month, it's coming down, right? The economy is adding fewer and fewer jobs every single month, right? At the beginning of 2023, they were adding 300,000-400,000 jobs a month. That's dwindling down, right? Towards the end of the year, it's dwindling down. And the reason it's dwindling down is because the Fed is keeping interest rates higher for longer. So companies can't borrow money cheaply. They can't expand. They can't grow. And if companies can't expand and grow, they don't hire people. If companies are losing money and they're trying to cut expenses to prevent them from going out of business, guess what one of the biggest expenses for most businesses is? Payroll, employees, benefits for those employees. That's one of the biggest expense line items. So when companies need to cut expenses, they start with employees. They start laying off employees, right? That's what they do. And that's what keeping interest rates higher for longer does to companies. And the Fed knows that. I'm telling you guys, if you're in a situation right now where you're still spending money on things you don't need, you better stop. You better redirect those dollars and figure out a better way to use them. Redirect those dollars and start building wealth for yourself. Redirect those dollars and replenish your emergency fund. Redirect those dollars and pay off this consumer debt. Pay off this high interest rate credit cards. Pay off these high interest rate loans. If you have car loans and you owe more on the car loan than what the car is worth, you're in trouble. My recommendation is sell that thing now if you can. Sell it, get rid of it. My recommendation is get rid of anything that has any monetary value that's not a need. $70,000 BMW that's worth 50 right now or 60 right now is not a need, guys. That's a want. I don't want to hear this stuff about, I need transportation to get to work. Yeah, you need regular transportation. You don't need a Beamer. You don't need a $70,000 BMW to get to work. That's a want. That is not a need. I keep telling y'all, we got to learn the difference between needs and wants. A need is just getting me a nice little $5,000, $10,000 car that can get me to A to B. See, that's a need. That's transportation. That's a need. When you go above and beyond that, that's simply a want, right? Going out to lunch every day. Going out to dinner 3, 4, 5 times a week. Guys, that's not a want. I'm sorry, that's not a need. That's a want. That is not a need. That's a want. When you can just go to the grocery store, buy your food, make your lunch, take it with you to work, and just have lunch go out and get you some fresh air and eat your lunch that you brought from home. How about come home and cook your food? Probably healthier for you. But see, that's not what we want to do. We want to splurge. We want to have a good time. We want to treat ourselves. We owe it to ourselves. We deserve it. I don't understand how we deserve all of this stuff when we don't even have any more savings. Personal savings is pretty much gone. $190 billion is pretty much a nothing burger. When you're talking about over 350 million people in this country, it's a nothing burger. We had $2 trillion. And within 2 years span, that 2 trillion is 190 billion. What did we spend that money on? Making the 1% wealthy. That's what we did. We spent that money on making the 1% wealthy. And then you doubled down. You wasn't satisfied with blowing through your personal savings. We wasn't satisfied. Nope. Not satisfied. Now let's go to the credit cards. Let's blow through the credit card limits too. So that's what we did. We blew through the credit card limits, took that over 1 trillion. Yeah. So now we got no savings. We got no credit limits because we spent them all. And what's going to start happening is people are going to be in a situation where they're going to have to decide, do I pay my mortgage? Do I pay my rent? Or do I pay my credit card balances? Or do I pay my car payment? Or next month, when student loan interest is turned back on, you're going to say, well, do I pay my student loans? So you're going to have to stack rank all your debt you've accumulated over the last 2 years since the pandemic, right? Because we had that false sense of everything's okay. The job market is booming. Wow, I'm getting all these headhunters coming at me, trying to get me to change jobs. They say you're going to make 20% more than you make it now. See, we got a false sense of security behind that, right? When we had that booming labor market, a lot of us thought, woo, shoot, I'm good. Let me go get that Beamer because I'm getting that 20% raise when I move jobs. Woo, I'm going to get that sign-on bonus. Let me go out here and buy that Gucci handbag. Since I'm getting that sign-on, I'm getting that $10,000 sign-on bonus. But what we wasn't calculating was you had the Fed working against you the whole time. See, the Fed was working against you the whole time when they was raising them interest rates. And you didn't even pay any attention to them. You was like, oh, what are these guys doing? That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm good. I'm going to keep spending. I just got the raise. I'm going to get the bonus by year end because I'm going to kill it. I'm going to get this nice bonus. And then I'll pay off all that little debt once I get the bonus. The problem is the company ain't doing well. They're not profitable. They're shrinking. They're not growing. So therefore they've decided not to pay you that bonus. Right, which is in their discretion, right? Because they can change comp plans whenever they want to change them. Read the fine print in that contract you signed. They can change the comp plan whenever they want. They've decided they're not going to give you that bonus now. They're not going to give you that bonus. Even though you killed it, you had a good year, they're not going to give you the bonus because they can't afford to. They weren't able to borrow any money this year, right? And the reason they wasn't able to borrow any money because it's too expensive. The Fed is working against them. See, they knew that, but you didn't know it, but they knew it. But yet and still, they drained you. They got all that production out you. Now you're not going to get that bonus at the end of the year. Now you're stuck like Chuck because you done went out and bought a BMW, right? I don't know. Interest rate probably, 5, 6, 7%. Who knows? Maybe higher than that if you got raggedy credit, right? You done went out and bought that BMW. You also done went and bought your new wardrobe because, of course, you got the new job. So you got to look good, right? Got to look good, feel good, perform good. You did perform well. Problem is you're not getting the bonus because the company ain't profitable. See, companies ain't in the business of giving employees bonuses when they don't make no money. They're not in that business. They're in the business of sharing some of the profit if they make money. But if they don't make no money, nah, they ain't going to give you none. They're not going to give you extra when they don't have extra to give. So now you got credit card debt, you got the car loan, and you did not anticipate student loan interest being turned back on because, of course, you got student loan debt too. So most of us are in trouble. We're in big trouble. How do we get out of that trouble? I've already told you. Take an inventory of everything you own that's not a need and sell it. Whatever value you got associated with it, sell it. If you got a car that's above the need category, like I told you, a need is just getting from A to B. Dependable transportation from A to B. That's the need. It can be a $5,000 car. It could be a $10,000 car or less. Anything above and beyond that, Sell it. Get out of it. Anything designer you got that got value attached to it, sell it. Get rid of it. Pay down your high interest rate credit card debt. Do that. And then if you're living in a house or renting an apartment that's just extravagant and you don't really need it, downsize. You got to downsize, guys. You got to downsize. And then take that money from the downsizing of this big house or this large apartment, and then take that money and pay off your debt. Because I'm telling you, it ain't gonna be pretty over these next 6 to 12 months. See, for people who paid attention to the Fed and started getting their financial house in order like I've been asking you guys to do for the last year, definitely since January of 2023, I've been telling you, get your financial house in order. See, those people are in a position right now to start buying assets. Matter of fact, they're in a position to keep buying assets, because if they've been listening and paying attention, they have already started buying assets back in January, when I told you the Fed was getting ready to really, really turn this thing up. They'd have been buying these discounted assets, these paper assets. What a great opportunity it's going to be for those that pay attention and want to get to their freedom and want to delay some gratification and wait for tomorrow to have everything instead of trying to have everything today. For those people, it's a great opportunity what the Fed is doing, keeping interest rates higher for longer. Why? Because the longer they keep interest rates high, it artificially keeps the stock market from being bullish, right? Yeah, we might get a spike every now and then, but it's not going to be consistently bullish with high interest rates. And when the stock market is not bullish, companies, these great companies, these ETFs, these index funds, they're on sale. And see, I'm an old-fashioned investor. I like buying assets when they're at a discount. And then I like holding those assets till they trade at a premium again, because that's where I build my net worth. I've done it for over 25 years that way. Nothing fancy, just blocking and tackling basic fundamental stuff, right? Just basic stuff. But most people don't have the patience for basic stuff. Most of us don't have the patience to do that. But the ones that have the patience, they're gonna get rich. They're gonna build a lot of wealth. Right? They're gonna build a lot of wealth. Question is, are you gonna be one of those people that build a lot of wealth, or are you gonna be one of those people that 2 years from now look back on this and say, you know something, I was in so much debt. I lost my job. I had student loan interest turned back on me. And I couldn't juggle it all. I had to let it all go. Now I'm starting over. Are you gonna be one of those people? Or are you gonna be one of those people, like I said, who sit back and said, you know something, I'm so glad I got my financial house in order. I'm so glad I put myself on a financial plan to success. I'm so glad I paid attention when the Fed were having their meetings and talking about the economy. I'm glad I just didn't depend on this job, right? I'm glad I built up my emergency fund. I'm glad I sold everything that was of any value that was not a need for me to live. I sold it. If it had value, I sold it. And I paid off that credit card debt. I paid off other consumer debt. I sold that car. I downsized that house. I'm glad I did that, because now I'm in a situation where my net worth is positive instead of negative. See, here's the deal, guys. When your liabilities exceed your assets, you're insolvent. And that's just a fancy word for you're broke. That's what it is, a fancy word for broke, right? Insolvent means you don't have enough in assets to cover your liabilities. You don't have enough money to cover your debts, right? You're insolvent. You're broke. Now, the good news in this country is we are okay with giving people second, third, and fourth, and fifth chances when they mess up financially. We're comfortable with that. And the reason we're comfortable with it is because 70% of our economy depends on consumer spending. And if we don't forgive people and give them a second chance, then we won't have an economy. So we got to give people a second chance, right? And a third chance and a fourth chance. And that's one of the things that in this country I disagree with, right? I don't mind a person having a second chance. But come on, man, if you consistently demonstrate financially you're just not going to do the right thing, why would you get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chances? And I know why you get it. Because our economy depends on it. See, our economy depends on us making our money and spending it on stuff we don't need. The economy depends on that. Without that, there is no financial system. There is no economy. So we have to do that. Plus the 1% love our economy. They love our financial system because they know 99% of us have no clue what it is. They have no clue. So therefore they can manipulate us into doing things we shouldn't do financially. And they can continue to build wealth. They can continue to have luxury lifestyles that are paid for by the 99%. That's the way it works. That's our country in a nutshell when it comes to our financial system. But that's okay if you know that and you know how to use that to your advantage. You can build wealth. You can get rich. You can own 100% of your time. You can own and control your financial destiny. That's the good news. But you got to pay attention. You got to start reprogramming yourself. And a lot of us just, we don't want to reprogram ourselves. A lot of us just want to indulge in the here and now. We got no dreams. We got no ambition to get to our freedom. We got no dreams or ambition to own 100% of our time, to control our own financial destiny. We don't want that. We live for today and for today only. We don't live for tomorrow, right? Most of us don't live for tomorrow. We live for today. We want to spend every dime we make, and then we think at the end of it, when we're old and gray, there's going to be somebody there to take care of us. There's going to be somebody there from a financial standpoint to prop us up. But that's the myth. That's a lie. That's not the truth. There's no one going to be there to prop you up. For most of us, unless you do something today to prop yourself up. And again, guys, if y'all are coming in the chat, man, you're coming into the live stream, hit the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel a lot. It allows YouTube to get this content out to more folks. It helps me a lot. It helps the channel a lot. So please, if you don't mind, like I said, you may not agree with everything I say, but at least you're here. And if you're here, hit the thumbs up for me, right? If you're tapping in for 5 minutes, hit the thumbs up. I hope you tap in for longer, but if you're just here in passing, tap the thumbs up for me. Tap that thumbs up. It helps the channel and it helps me tremendously. So please, we got quite a few people in here. Please, I need you guys to hit that thumbs up for me. And then we're going to be wrapping this thing up soon. But I got a few more things I want to talk about, and then we're going to wrap up. But I wanted to make sure you guys hit that thumbs up for me because I know some of you will tap in and tap out pretty quick, which is cool. But please hit that thumbs up if you appreciate at least the content. You may not agree with everything I say, but at least you appreciate the content. So please hit the like button for me. I really would appreciate it. So what's the game plan? What's the game plan? We know the Fed gonna keep interest rates higher for longer. And we also know the Fed has already, mentioned that, Fed funds rate is 5.5% today, but they believe in 2026 it'll still be around 2.5%, 3%. So that tells us over the next 2.5 years, even when they start reducing short-term interest rates, they're not going to reduce them down to zero. See, a lot of people think, when they start reducing in June of 2024, wow, they're just going to go from 5.5 to 0. No, that's not what they're going to do. They're going to bring them down very slow. Because, see, the whole thing for the Fed is they don't want inflation to turn around and start going back up if they start reducing interest rates too fast. They don't want that. They want inflation to be at 2% and stay there. And then they start, systematically bringing down the Fed funds rate, which is not the rate you borrow money at. That's the rate banks borrow money between each other, the Fed funds rate. You borrow at the prime rate. In most cases, if it's variable loan that you're getting, you borrow at the prime rate. And you got to understand the prime rate affects fixed rate loans as well, like car loans, boat loans, personal loans, student loans, things of that nature, right? Indirectly, it affects it. And indirectly, the Fed funds rate affects the 30-year fixed rate mortgage rate, which really tracks the 10-year treasury, right? So rates are extremely important. The higher they are, honestly, the worse off we are as it relates to our economy, right? Because when they're that high, everything we try to borrow money to buy is going to be, the interest rate is going to be high. But that's a reason they do that, to stop you from buying. The only way the inflation comes down, guys, is you got to stop buying stuff you don't need to make other people wealthy. So we gotta remember that. But if we do remember that, then we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to get inflation down. But until we get inflation down, like I said, what's the game plan? The game plan should be dollar cost averaging in for those of us that have gotten our financial house in order. For those of you that have not got your financial house in order, you should do that first before you start investing any money in paper assets. You got high interest rate credit card debt running out of control. You got no emergency fund. You should be taking your free cash flow and paying off that high interest rate credit card debt. You should be taking your free cash flow and getting yourself in a position where you have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. You need to do those two things first. And then once you get your financial house in order, then you start taking your income and start investing in assets to build wealth. But I'm a firm believer in, with interest rates as high as they are right now, when it comes to your credit card debt you have and the rest of your consumer debt you have, especially if you've taken it out over the last year, it's super duper high, right? If I got $7,000 in credit card debt, I'm probably, if I'm not on a zero interest rate balance transfer situation, I'm probably somewhere in that 18 to 25% interest rate range. And with 18 to 25%, you making the minimum payment on that $7,000 in credit card debt, it'll take you 50 years to pay it off. So I'm of the belief, if I'm making income and I got an extra $500 a month, instead of me taking it and investing it in the stock market right now, I need to take that $500 a month and hammer down that 18 to 25% high interest rate credit card balance, because I'm getting hammered. I'm just getting hammered on interest. I'll never pay it off doing the minimum balance. Never. You gotta pay the principal down faster. And the way you do that is you take your free cash flow and you start dumping it on it until you pay it off. Right? Do that first. Second, get that emergency fund together. 3 to 6 months. You got to have that together. This is for people who do not have their financial house in order and they need to get it in order. These are the two things they should be doing. Emergency fund, 3 to 6 months, paying off high interest rate credit card debt, high interest rate loan debt. Once you get those two things right sized, done, then it's time to start thinking about investing. Now, for y'all that already done that, because I've been talking about that for months and months and months and months, and for some of y'all that did listen to me, and I know people are listening because I had a conversation with a gentleman today in one of my financial sessions, 1 hour financial sessions that I do with people that are serious about getting their financial situation together and serious about building wealth. My company, RF Financial Consulting, you pay a fee, and then you have an hour with me, and we drill down, and we get you in the right situation. So I had one of them this morning before I started the live stream, and the gentleman was great. Had been watching me for a while, and he was like, "Richard, I'm dialed in, man. I'm watching every day, and I'm taking little nuggets, right? I'm taking little nuggets, and man, guess what? I've gotten this, and this done. I'm doing Weeble. I'm doing $500 a month. I'm putting money in Weeble when I'm buying VOO. So I got that going. I'm chopping down. I'm just chopping down the credit card debt. Right now, I ain't got much left. I'm killing that. I took inventory of the things that I bought over the last couple of years. Some of them were not needs. Some of them were definitely wants. And those wants, I put them up for sale. I'm getting rid of them. I'm turning that back into cash so I can invest it. I don't need wants right now. What I need is investments that increase in value over time, because I got a plan. And this gentleman was like, I got a plan. I want to have $2 million when I get to the golden years. When I get to a certain age, I want $2 million. And I said, well, okay, if you're serious about that $2 million, this is what you got to do. This is how much you got to invest every single month, every single year for a couple of decades. And guess what he said? No problem. I got a couple decades. I know this thing ain't gonna be easy, but nothing in life worth having is easy. I know ain't nobody gonna give me nothing, so I'm gonna buckle down right now. Yeah, we live a good lifestyle, we make good salaries, but guess what? We know our lifestyle is predicated on someone else paying us. That's not a good lifestyle, guys. A good lifestyle is where your assets take care of you, not some employer. Because guess what? Like I told you earlier in the live, when them employers look at their balance sheet, they look at their income statement, and they see red, guess what that's telling them? They ain't making no money. When they see red on that balance sheet and that income statement, that means stop, pump the brakes, we bleeding cash, we not making money, we losing money. And guess what the first thing they do? They go right to their employees. They go right to payroll. They go right to benefits and say, how much can we slash? Okay, let's lay off 1,000 of them. That's what they do. See, these people know that I talked to the gentleman he knows that. Even though he's been with his company for over 20 years, and that's likely that'll happen in the line of work he's in, he still knows it's a possibility. So what does he do? He prepares for the worst, but he expects the best. And that's the way you got to look at it, guys. You got to prepare for the worst, but expect the best. And that's what this gentleman is doing. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. And I'm proud of all of you guys out there who are listening and taking action. That doesn't mean you agree with everything I say. That doesn't mean you think I'm some guy that don't do wrong, because y'all know my story. Y'all know my story. I've done a lot of wrong early on in my life. I just learned from it and didn't repeat the same mistakes. And a lot of us just continue to repeat the same old crap. Why? Because we still program wrong. We won't reprogram ourselves. If you don't reprogram yourself, you will always make the wrong financial decisions when it comes to money, and you will always be broke. This gentleman is reprogramming himself. And that hour he had with me, he said, listen, man, that's an investment in me. I had some specific questions I needed you to take me through and give me answers to and lend your expertise, your experience to. And guess what? One of those things we talked about was side hustles. And guess what? If he goes out and does what I believe he's going to do with this side hustle we talked about, that money he paid me was peanuts, right? It was well worth him investing in himself. He's not investing in me. Oh, your company makes money. Well, why don't you do it for free? I don't know any company in America that just does something for free when it comes to earning and keeping the lights on. People just don't do stuff for free, guys. I do the videos every day for free. I do the videos every single day because that's what I enjoy doing. But if I'm gonna take my own personal time outside of the videos and dedicate an hour to somebody, guess what? That's what I got my company for, right? And he understood that. And I appreciated that about him. He understood that. But guess what? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, guys, over the last, 3.5 years I've been doing this have participated in these 101s, right? Right now, this month alone, I've probably done, I don't know, close to 15 of them. Because I just do them when I want to do them. I did about 15 so far this month. 15 great conversations with people at different places in their financial journey. Some people just beginning, some people in the middle, some people well on their way. So my point is, get your financial house in order. Get yourself to a point where you know exactly where you want to end up, right? You know exactly where you want to end up from a financial standpoint. Do that for yourself. Do that for your family. The Fed ain't messing around with you guys. I'm telling you, they are not messing around with these interest rates. They're going to keep them higher for longer because Americans ain't paying attention. Americans just won't listen when it comes to spending money. And I know it's the truth because just go look at the facts. Go look at the data. The data says you Americans have squandered almost $2 trillion worth of savings in less than 2 years. How in the world do you do that? Unless you're just out buying crap you don't need. That's how you do it. And on top of that, they doubled down and then got the dang on credit card debt to over $1 trillion. I mean, goodness gracious, you blow through almost $2 trillion worth of personal savings. And then you blow through another $1 billion in credit card limits. Because it's debt, right? It's debt. They went through the limits. That's just amazing. So $3 trillion altogether. And you wonder why the Fed got interest rates as high as they got them. That's why. They got them that high because we blew through $3 trillion worth of personal savings and credit card limits. Just blew through it. Buying stuff to make the 1% wealthy. I guarantee the 1% ain't got no credit card debt. I guarantee you the 1% got an emergency fund. I guarantee you the 1% got assets that generate passive income. I guarantee you the 1% ain't worried about what the Fed do with interest rates. They ain't worried about it. Matter of fact, they're loving it because guess what they're doing? They're taking their wealth and doubling it because they're doubling down on assets right now while they're cheap, specifically paper assets, right? They're doubling down on paper assets right now because they're cheap. They're also taking advantage of real estate, the housing market, because they're buying up houses, they're buying apartment buildings, jacking up the rents, because they know Americans got no other choice but to rent, the majority of them, because they can't afford what? To buy a house with mortgage rates at 7.5%. See, the 1% know that. Why do you think all these apartment buildings going up everywhere? Y'all think that's just happening? Oh my God, there's 5 apartment buildings. I wonder why the apartment buildings are going up. You know why? Because the 1% realize you guys ain't got nowhere to live. You can't buy a house. Your only choice is to rent. They can charge you whatever they want to charge you in rent. You got no other choice. You have no other choice. 7.5% interest rates, guys. You can't afford the monthly mortgage payment. You can't get the down payment together because you done went through all your savings. Remember, you done went through $2.1 trillion in savings in 2 years. So all of your down payment money gone. That's gone to the 1% because you don't went and bought a car. You don't went out and bought a jet ski. You don't went out and bought a boat. You don't went and took a fancy vacation this summer that cost you 10 grand. Just all kind of crazy stuff. You done spent that money, right? So these people who develop multi-family housing, which is the 1%, they already started this, right? They started this, 18 months, 2 years ago, right? They started this because they knew the Fed was going to have to jack up rate just because they knew Americans would spend every dime they make, right? So they started building all these apartment complexes. A lot of people are like, why are they building all these apartment complexes? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? I mean, interest rates are low. People are buying houses. They don't need all these apartment complexes. Guess what? Fast forward 2 years, guess what? They were right. See, these people, these smart people, these 1% people, these people know what's coming, man, because they're dialed in. See, they already knew what was coming 2 years ago. That's why they started building all them apartment complexes. Remember that? Remember at the pandemic? Right before the pandemic, right after the pandemic, all these apartment, boom, spurting up everywhere. I know down here in Florida, we got them on every corner, brand new apartment buildings. And guess what? They're full to the waiting list. Before they can even get the CO, they got a waiting list. Why? Because people that want to buy houses can't anymore, right? Middle income earners, slightly upper middle class income earners cannot afford to buy a house because of the interest rates at 7.5%. Can't afford it. Can't afford the monthly mortgage payment. Plus, they can't get the down payment because they done went through all their savings. So what's the option? You either rent a house or you rent an apartment. And as long as the Fed decides to keep rates higher for longer, those apartments are going to stay filled. I think the apartments are going to stay filled regardless because, like I said, it's going to take 3 years, probably 2 to 3 years, 3 good years before mortgage rates, in my opinion, get under 5%. It's going to take at least 3 years before mortgage rates, 30-year fixed rate mortgage rates, get under 5%. It's going to take at least 3 years. And with the softening job market, people are not going to have the luxury of having several, 5, 6, 7, 8 different jobs to choose from anymore. They're not. No. Matter of fact, you may have a 1-to-1. And in the worst case scenario, you're going to have a 2-to-1, but it's going to be 2 candidates for every job. If that happens, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what is going to hit the fan. And I'm telling you, rates higher for longer from the Fed is pushing the economy in that direction. That's why they're keeping rates higher for longer. Now, they didn't hike last week. They put a pause because they said, you know something? And a lot of people misunderstood that. The reason they put a pause on is that they didn't want to stress the economy. They wanted to wait and see how the economy would react over the next several months before they meet again in November. They want to see what the economy is going to do, right? They want to see. They want to see more data. They want to see a couple more CPI inflation reports. You all right? They want to see more data. But they've already said expect another rate bump before the end of the year. They're telling you. See, I tell you guys, just listen, pay attention. Listen to the Fed, pay attention. Read through the fine print. Just pay attention. They'll tell you what's happening. And right now what's happening is exactly what I told you they're going to happen. They're going to pause. And then, boom. If the data is very, very good, they may not increase rates again. If it's very good. If the data is bad or lukewarm, boom, they might hit you with another 25 basis points before the end of the year. And then what they'll do is they'll pause again. They're going to start no reduction. He's already said, the chairman already said, hey, we probably won't be reducing or consider reducing until June of 2024. Now, again, guys, those things can change, right? They can change at any time. This is all just what the Fed is forward thinking, what they call forward thinking. That doesn't mean it's going to be absolute. But if I know the forward thinking, if I know interest rates are going to be higher for longer, that tells me as an investor, what a great time to double down and try and find me some assets that will be at a discount longer. Because as long as interest rates are higher, the stock market is not going to be able to consistently be bullish. It might be bullish for 1 day, bearish for 5 days, bullish for 2 days, bearish for 10 days. That's how it's going to be. It's going to be volatile. Because until interest rates start coming down, there's no opportunities for companies to borrow money cheaply to grow. That's the key. So pay attention to what's going on when the Fed speak. I'm not saying you got to believe everything you hear. I'm just telling you, get some idea of what's going on. Stay tapped in to the YouTube channel. Stay tapped in. Again, guys, I'm no expert here. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm just giving you my opinion, one guy on YouTube. You don't have to believe nothing I'm saying. That's okay. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But it is my YouTube channel, so I have the prerogative to give you guys information that I believe is pertinent to financial freedom. Now, whether you believe it or not, that's on you, right? You don't have to believe it. I'm just one guy. This is not a convince you channel. It is a opinion channel, right? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just telling you what I think is happening, what I see coming. You certainly are welcome to go out online and do your own research, come up with your own conclusion, make your own YouTube video, and give your opinion. You can do that too. But my opinion is this. Rates are going to stay higher for longer, and the Fed has given you final warning, and you better pay attention. If you want to build wealth, pay attention. If you want to build wealth, get your financial house in order. Pay off that high interest rate credit card debt, right? Get your 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Sell any asset that is not a need. Well, anything. I don't care. Whatever it is. If it's not a need, sell it. If it's a house, sell it. If it's a car, sell it. Get yourself in a position where you don't have any consumer debt. Get yourself in a position where you got your emergency fund, and then start attacking investments with a 10-year plan. 10-year plan of just keeping my head down, only buying things that I absolutely need, and investing every single penny I can invest in assets that build wealth. If you do that for a 10-year stretch, and good, historically proven investments that have a historical track record of multiplying money, man, you're going to be so much better off. Your nest egg is going to be amazing. You're going to have an amazing nest egg if you do that for 10 years. Get yourself consumer debt free. Get your emergency fund in place. Increase your income, whether it be increasing it through your primary way of making money, or adding some of secondary ways of making money through side hustles, etc. Delay gratification for 10 years, right? Delay gratification for 10 years. And then live the rest of your life in comfort, where you're owning your own time, you're controlling your own financial destiny, where you have more freedom, more time, and more choices in your life. That's what you should be striving for. That's what we all should be striving for. If we're not striving for that, we're missing the boat. We're missing the boat. We're missing the boat if we're not striving for that. And you're going to work for somebody for the rest of your life. Y'all know I had to throw that in. Had to throw that in because that's the truth. You got two choices in this life. You build wealth, and that wealth creates passive income, or you work for somebody for the rest of your life making active income. Those are your only two forms of income. You got active income, you got passive income. It decides which one you want to live out the rest of your life doing. Personally, I want to live out the rest of my life on passive income, where my investments take care of me. I don't want to live the rest of my life working for somebody actively, never knowing when they're going to want to fire me, never knowing when they're going to, decrease my salary, never knowing when anything financially, because it's all predicated on what they pay me. I can't make any financial decision in my life without them because they pay me. So please, pay attention. Get yourself a financial checkup from the neck up. Think about what I just said. Consider doing some of the things that I've asked you to consider. Consider it. Well, all right, guys, I'm going to get ready to sign off, but I do want you guys to do me a couple favors. Again, hit the thumbs up. That's very important so that YouTube can share this content to more people. Hit the thumbs up for me. Hit it, smash it 1,000 times if you don't mind. I got to get this video to at least 1,000 likes. Right? We got to get it up to 1,000 likes. Right now, we got about 450 likes. Let's get this thing up to over 600 likes before we end the live. Please hit that like button for me. If you have not hit it and you're in the live right now, if you have not hit it and you're watching it in its video format, go ahead and hit the like button right now. It helps the channel and it helps me too. It gets us spread it out to a larger audience so we can help more people get to their financial freedom. So please do me that favor. Hit that like button. Second thing I want you to do is share the video. Share it with somebody in your sphere, in your network, in your family, co-worker, whoever, anybody that you remotely believe would benefit from hearing something to help them get to their financial freedom. Please, please, please. Go ahead and share it. Don't make that decision for them. Just share the video. I really would appreciate it. That helps the channel out a lot. And again, hit that thumbs up. We're up to 538 thumbs ups, right? We're getting there. So let's get this thing to 600 before we end the live. I know I got these little something out here right here attacking me, but I'm gonna push through it. I'm not gonna let Mother Nature Deter me. And y'all know I'm joking. I'm just fooling around with that. But yeah, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and get up to 600 before we get out of here. The third thing I want you to do for me is consider Weeble, right? I want you to consider signing up for Weeble. There's a link down in the description box of the video. Guys, we can't build wealth, especially using paper assets, unless we have a brokerage account. We got to have a brokerage account to be able to make our investment into paper assets. Weeble is a pretty dang on good self-directed brokerage app to do that. I use Weeble every day. Now, Weeble is going to give you up to 12 free stocks for just trying out the brokerage app, right? You got to fund it now. You got to put any amount of money in there, though. But if we're serious about building wealth and using that brokerage account to do it, I would recommend you put some money in there. Now, they're going to give you up to 12 free stocks for opening and putting any amount of money in, but I would put a little extra in so that you can get yourself in a position to start building wealth. I'm going to also send you that free Weeble tutorial video I mentioned earlier in the live stream. I'm going to send you that Weeble tutorial video to walk you through how to use the basic components of the Weeble app so that you can start buying individual stocks and buying ETFs to start building your wealth. All you got to do is send me a DM on Instagram at RichardFain28. Send me that DM on Instagram at RichardFain28. And then I will go ahead and send you that Weeble tutorial video so that you can start building wealth today. One more plug, guys. Please hit the thumbs up. We're almost at 600 people, 600 likes. Hit that thumbs up for me. Hit it. If you're in the live, if you're in the video format, hit that thumbs up. It helps get us spread it to a larger audience so that we can get more people to their financial freedom. Thoughts become things. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. I mean, never, never, never stop believing in yourself. And I'm going to catch you on the next live or on the next video. Peace.